In the dim glow of a 2003 backstage corridor at the MTV Europe Music Awards, Beyoncé, clad in shimmering gold fringe, pulls Sean Paul aside, her expression a mix of urgency and frustration. The moment, captured in fleeting footage that surfaced years later, wasn't about celebration. It was a confrontation over whispers that had spiraled out of control, threatening the careful facade of a rising star's personal life. This single exchange encapsulates a pattern that has defined Beyoncé's world for decades. Rumors that ignite like wildfire, fueled by proximity, chemistry, and the insatiable curiosity of the public eye. Beyoncé Knowles Carter has built an empire on control, meticulous choreography, airtight narratives, and a marriage to Jay-Z that has weathered storms most couples couldn't imagine. Yet, beneath the polished surface, 5 men's names have repeatedly surfaced in tabloid headlines, fan theories, and late-night debates. 4 are echoes of speculation, born from collaborations, fleeting glances, or professional closeness. 1 is the anchor of a partnership that began in secrecy and evolved into a cultural dynasty. From the dancehall heat of the early 2000s to a bodyguard's shadow in 2024, these stories reveal not just gossip, but the high stakes of fame, where innocence is presumed guilty until proven otherwise. Viewers often wonder how much of this is harmless fantasy, and how much hints at hidden truths. Tonight, on Starlight Remains, we dissect each chapter with the facts at hand, distinguishing verified timelines from amplified innuendo, while exploring the broader implications for privacy in the spotlight. You'll gain clarity on which rumors held water and which evaporated under scrutiny, insight into how Beyoncé's team navigates chaos, and a fresh perspective on why one recent allegation stirred fresh unease in a seemingly unbreakable union. The bodyguard detail, in particular, raises uncomfortable questions about trust and boundaries that we'll unpack in full. But first, we start where the noise was loudest. Let's dive in. Top 1: Jay-Z husband and longtime partner. Amid the swirl of fleeting headlines and manufactured mysteries that have shadowed Beyoncé's personal life, one relationship stands apart not as rumor, but as the defining architecture of her adulthood. Sean Carter, known globally as Jay-Z, entered her story in 2001 with a simple voicemail left on her flip phone after a late-night session for his album, The Blueprint. He was 31, already a hip-hop mogul reshaping the industry through Rockefeller Records. She was 20, on the cusp of solo breakthroughs while still tethered to Destiny's Child. That initial contact, casual yet deliberate, sparked a courtship conducted almost entirely out of public view. They communicated through poetry exchanges. He sent lyrics. She responded in kind and kept encounters low profile, aware that premature exposure could complicate her group's momentum and his empire building. Their first documented public moment came in 2002 at the NBA Finals, seated courtside with heads bowed, focused on the game rather than the cameras. It was a deliberate choice, signaling partnership without fanfare. By 2004, they shared screen time in Jay-Z's concert documentary, Fade to Black, where Beyoncé appeared briefly on stage, still framed publicly as collaborators and friends. The secrecy held until April 4, 2008, when they married on the rooftop of Jay-Z's Tribeca penthouse. Only 40 guests attended, no photographers, no leaks, just vows exchanged under string lights. Beyoncé later described the decision in a rare interview snippet. Privacy wasn't evasion, it was preservation. The union's resilience faced its most public trial in May 2014, when security footage from a Met Gala after-party elevator captured Solange Knowles physically confronting Jay-Z, with Beyoncé standing silent beside them. The clip, released by TMZ, ignited weeks of speculation about infidelity, family rifts, and the couple's future. They responded with a joint statement calling it a private matter, but the undercurrent surfaced artistically. In 2016, Beyoncé's visual album Lemonade unfolded like a cinematic confession. Tracks such as Sorry and Hold Up wove themes of betrayal, rage, and eventual forgiveness into a narrative many read as autobiographical. Jay-Z's 2017 album 444 served as counterpoint. The title track and Smile offered explicit apologies, acknowledging pain caused and growth earned. Critics hailed the exchange as one of music's most transparent reckonings, turning personal fracture into shared catharsis. Rebuilding became visible in tangible ways. The 2018 On the Run to tour, their second joint stadium outing, grossed over $254 million across 48 dates, with set lists blending hits and subtle nods to reconciliation. Beyoncé closed each night with Young Forever. Jay-Z at her side, a quiet declaration. Family expanded too. Daughter Blue Ivy in 2012. Twins Rumi and Sir in 2017, grounding their legacy beyond boardrooms. By the 2023 premiere of Beyoncé's Renaissance film, Jay-Z escorted her down the red carpet, his presence deliberate and warm. Notably, security-led Julius DeBoer remained off-frame, a subtle recalibration of optics after earlier whispers. As of 2025, their partnership thrives in new arenas. They voice characters in Disney's live-action Mufasa the Lion King, a family-friendly pivot that mirrors their off-screen life. Rumi and Sir spotted courtside at Knicks games, flanked by both parents. Blue Ivy navigating adolescence with poise. Their empires, Parkwood Entertainment and Rock Nation, interlock seamlessly, managing artists, sports ventures, and philanthropy. With a combined net worth exceeding $2.5 billion, yet questions linger in the art. A 2024 interlude on Cowboy Carter murmurs, "Some debts can't be paid in gold," prompting endless fan dissections, final absolution, or lingering shadow. What sustains them isn't just wealth or fame, but mutual evolution. Jay-Z has spoken of therapy as a turning point. Beyoncé frames their bond as chosen daily. They've weathered industry upheavals, public betrayals, and the relentless gaze that amplifies every prior rumor into contrast. Sean Paul's remix, Marques Houston's tour camaraderie, Sisqó's cropped photo, Julius's proximity all dissolve against this timeline of commitment. The others were echoes in a hallway. Jay-Z is the foundation. In the end, their story isn't flawless, it's human, marked by missteps owned and growth documented. It outlasts Hollywood averages because it was built privately first, revealed selectively, and fortified through accountability. Every chapter before this one served to highlight the difference between noise and substance. As we trace Beyoncé's path through these 5 intersecting stories, a clearer portrait emerges not of scandal, but of a woman who has long mastered the art of selective revelation. The collaborations with Sean Paul and Marques Houston captured the electricity of youth and ambition. The fleeting Grammy night snapshot with Sisqó reminded us how easily context vanishes in a flash. The recent shadows around Julius DeBoer exposed the quiet tensions of constant proximity. Each episode, in its own way, tested the boundaries of public curiosity and private resolve. Yet standing at the center, unwavering, is her partnership with Jay-Z, a bond forged in discretion, tempered by trial, and renewed through shared vision and family. What ties it all together is Beyoncé's consistent choice to let actions and artistry speak where words might falter. She has never chased down every whisper, understanding perhaps that denial can amplify as much as it quiets. Instead, she channels the noise into creation, turning potential vulnerabilities into anthems of strength. In doing so, she redefines power not as isolation, but as intentional curation of one's narrative. So we leave you with this to ponder. In an era where every moment is documented, what does true privacy look like for someone whose life is a global stage? Share your thoughts below. Which of these chapters lingers most for you? And what does Beyoncé's silence teach us about handling our own stories? Thank you for joining us on Starlight Remains. If this exploration resonated, subscribe and ring the bell for next week's look inside Blue Ivy's world and the careful circle her mother keeps. Until then, keep watching the light. It always reveals more than the shadows suggest. Top 2. Julius DeBoer. Longtime bodyguard rumors that resurfaced in 2024. In the high-stakes world of celebrity protection, where shadows are both literal and figurative, Julius DeBoer stands as a towering constant in Beyoncé's orbit. At 6'5", the Dutch native brings a military precision honed from his early days in Amsterdam's private security scene to his role as lead on her detail since 2009. What began as a professional hire founding his own firm, DeBoer Global, at age 24 and expanding it to outposts in New York, London, and Abu Dhabi evolved into a fixture of trust during Beyoncé's most vulnerable chapters. He's been there for the births of her children, the chaos of the 2014 elevator incident involving Jay-Z and Solange, and the global spectacle of tours like Renaissance in 2023. In footage from that era, Julius moves like clockwork, earpiece in place, gaze averted from lenses, always precisely 3 feet behind, a silent barrier against the world's intrusions. For years, this dynamic hummed along without fanfare, a testament to the unspoken code of elite security: visibility without presence, protection without presumption. That changed in February 2024 when an anonymous X account dropped a side-by-side comparison that sliced through the routine. On one side, Julius in Dubai during a sweltering concert stop the previous year, his hand steady as he adjusted Beyoncé's earpiece mid-performance, her slight nod of acknowledgement caught in high definition. On the other, a 2018 clip of Jay-Z performing the same intimate gesture during a joint appearance. The caption was blunt: "Same touch, different title," and it landed like a match in dry grass. Within hours, the post racked up thousands of shares, blending admiration for Julius's striking features with darker insinuations about boundaries blurred by necessity. The spark quickly fanned into a blaze by March, courtesy of a cryptic blind item on Doomy, the Instagram haven for Hollywood whispers. It described a megastar's security lead abruptly relocated after a spouse's firm demand, with the timing dovetailing eerily with Julius's noticeable absence from Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter rollout events that spring. Fans, already dissecting the album's themes of resilience and reinvention, latched onto track 8, Bodyguard, a sultry ode laced with lines like, "I give you kisses in the back seat," "I whisper secrets in the backbeat," and "Sometimes I hold you closer just to know you're real." YouTube comments erupted. "Shout out to Julius," while TikTok stitched the lyrics over clips of him shadowing Beyoncé on tour, imagining a clandestine narrative that turned professional vigilance into forbidden allure. The song's title, paired with its protective undertones, seemed too on the nose to ignore. Even as deeper listens revealed Beyoncé positioning herself as the guardian, likely a nod to her enduring bond with Jay-Z. Counterpoints emerged almost as swiftly, tempering the frenzy with reality. By April 2024, Julius reappeared publicly, escorting Blue Ivy to a high-profile basketball game in Los Angeles. His posture unchanged, alert, unobtrusive, very much on the payroll. No official statements disrupted the silence from Jay-Z or Beyoncé, but her June W magazine profile offered a subtle anchor. Trust is the only currency that matters. A line that read like both philosophy and firewall. Parkwood insiders, speaking off-record to outlets like Page Six, dismissed the uproar as recycled optics, pointing to Julius's personal life, a divorce, a daughter, even sightings with a woman in New York as evidence against any hidden agenda. Yet the divide was palpable. Online had protect. Julius trended among staff loyalists, praising his decade-plus loyalty, while Hot Fire Julius simmered in Jay-Z stan circles, protective of a marriage that had publicly rebuilt from its own ashes. This firestorm, peaking amid Cowboy Carter's Grammy sweep, underscores a peculiar vulnerability in the architecture of fame. Proximity isn't just a job requirement for someone like Julius. It's the very soil where suspicion takes root. There's no trail of texts, no pilfered keycards, no financial discrepancies to substantiate claims, only the alchemy of a well-timed photo and a song's evocative poetry. From Beyoncé's vantage, it exposes the exhaustion of eternal scrutiny, where even platonic reliance on a team member invites judgment. For Jay-Z, whose own history with infidelity rumors adds layers of irony, it tests the resilience of a partnership valued at billions. And for Julius, a man who built an empire on discretion, the spotlight twists his expertise into entertainment. The rumors' revival into early 2025, tied to fresh blind items hinting at marital zero affection, only amplifies its staying power. A reminder that in celebrity lore, silence isn't absolution, it's invitation. Beyoncé's choice to let it burn unchecked speaks to her mastery of narrative by not engaging. She starves the beast while her art absorbs the heat. What endures isn't the accusation, but the human truth it unearths, the blurred edges of trust when your life is a public stage. Such whispers from the inner circle, however baseless, carry a weight all their own, especially when measured against the one connection that transformed fleeting headlines into a lasting legacy. Top 3. Cisco rumors sparked by a 2001 red carpet photo. February 2001 found the music industry gathered at the Staples Center in Los Angeles for the 43rd Annual Grammy Awards, a night that celebrated R&B's dominance while hinting at the genre's evolving landscape. Destiny's Child arrived as frontrunners, their album, The Writings on the Wall, still resonating from the previous year, and they walked away with the award for Best R&B Song for Say My Name, Beyoncé. Turning 19. That fall embodied the group's polished synergy on the red carpet, dressed in a sleek ensemble that balanced youthful energy with emerging sophistication. The formal ceremony gave way to the customary after-parties, where the real networking and occasional misinterpretations unfolded in dimly lit venues filled with champagne and flashing cameras. It was at one such gathering, hosted in the early hours following the show, that a seemingly innocuous moment was immortalized. Cisco, the Dru Hill frontman who had exploded onto the scene with his solo hit, Thong Song, the year prior, was in high spirits, his platinum hair and signature dragon-emblazoned shirt making him unmistakable in the crowd. A photographer circulating through the room captured a quick shot. Cisco with his arm loosely around Beyoncé's waist as she stood in a shimmering silver slip dress. both flashing smiles amid the festivities. The image, time-stamped around 2:14 a.m., didn't raise eyebrows immediately. But when it appeared 3 days later in a spread for the Source magazine, it was cropped tightly to focus solely on the pair, stripping away the broader context of the bustling party. The reaction was swift and amplified by the era's digital frontiers, AOL chat rooms, the social hubs of the time, lit up with threads dissecting the photo, fans dubbing it proof of an unlikely pairing between Destiny's Child's poised vocalist and the provocative dragon persona Cisco had cultivated. Message boards buzzed with theories, some playful, others pointed, questioning how the good girl image Beyoncé projected aligned with Cisco's bolder aesthetic. Radio personalities jumped in, turning morning shows into forums for speculation, with one notable DJ quipping for weeks that Cisco's upcoming single Incomplete carried hidden messages about unrequited feelings toward her. The joke persisted, even as the track's lyrics clearly addressed different themes of longing and loss. Cisco moved quickly to set the record straight. In an episode of his MTV Diary series that aired shortly after, he addressed the growing noise with straightforward respect, explaining that the photo was part of a larger group sequence. The same film roll, he noted, included poses with Maya, Pink, and several background performers from various acts, standard fare at industry celebrations where artists mingled freely. Cropping it down to just him and Beyoncé was a classic editorial choice, one that prioritized intrigue over accuracy. Beyoncé's camp offered no comment, a pattern that was becoming her hallmark for handling peripheral distractions while keeping focus on the music. The incident's aftermath revealed much about the mechanics of early 2000s tabloid culture. Without the instant fact-checking of today's social media, a single image could snowball into a narrative that outlived the event itself. Cisco, promoting his album, Return of Dragon, found the rumor a mixed blessing, boosting visibility, but also tying him to a storyline he hadn't authored. For Beyoncé, it was another layer in the protective bubble she was building around her personal sphere, especially as solo opportunities loomed. There were no subsequent joint appearances, no shared interviews, no lingering glances at award shows to sustain the idea. The speculation faded as quickly as it flared, relegated to footnotes in retrospective pieces. Yet, the photo has proven remarkably resilient in the digital age. In 2024, as Beyoncé's Renaissance era emphasized silver motifs and futuristic glamour, TikTok creators resurrected the image, stitching it alongside tour footage and suggesting thematic callbacks silver dresses as nods to past connections. These modern interpretations, while creative, ignore the original banality, a late-night party snap in a sea of similar ones. Beyoncé's team has consistently declined to engage, allowing the artifact to exist in the realm of fan lore rather than official history. Ultimately, the Cisco snapshot serves as a case study in visual deception. In an industry where every frame is scrutinized, context is often the first casualty. What began as a harmless group memento morphed into months of radio banter and online debate, underscoring the fragility of reputation for women in entertainment particularly. Cisco emerged unscathed, continuing his career with humor and hindsight. Beyoncé, ever forward-focused, let the moment dissolve into the background noise of her ascent. This episode of manufactured drama, built on nothing more substantial than a poorly framed picture, pales in comparison to the suspicions that would arise from far closer quarters years later. When proximity isn't just a party pose, but a daily professional reality, the stakes and the scrutiny change entirely. Top 4. Marques Houston. Early 2000s dating speculation. As the dust settled from the baby boy frenzy. Beyoncé's world in the early 2000s was a whirlwind of tour buses, studio marathons, and the relentless push toward individual stardom. Destiny's Child still commanded the charts, but the groundwork for solo careers was being laid in rehearsal halls and shared management offices. It was during this transitional phase, around 2000 and into 2001, that Marques Houston entered the picture not as a headliner, but as an opener on the group's European tour circuit. Fresh from his days with the teen R&B outfit IMX, Marques, then in his late teens, brought a smooth, boy-next-door charm that resonated with the same young audiences flocking to Destiny's Child shows. What started as professional overlap soon sparked whispers of something more personal, though the evidence has always been more circumstantial than concrete. The connection ran deeper than stage time. Both acts fell under the umbrella of Matthew Knowles' management, which meant shared resources, from choreographers to promotional strategies. Daily rehearsals in Houston's Third Ward studios became routine, where Beyoncé, Kelly Rowland, and Michelle Williams fine-tuned harmonies alongside Marques and his crew. These sessions were intense, focused on precision and energy, but they also fostered a sense of camaraderie among rising talents navigating the industry's demands. Observers from that era recall a comfortable rapport, easy conversations between takes, mutual respect for each other's work ethic. Beyoncé, at 19 and 20, was already demonstrating the discipline that would define her career, while Marques absorbed lessons in professionalism that he later credited to those around him. The rumor gained traction through subtle public moments and interpretive quotes. At the 2001 Teen Choice Awards, Destiny's Child surfed onto the stage to accept their trophies, a pinnacle of pop dominance, while Marques performed earlier in the night, his presence tying into the broader R&B wave. Then came a spring gathering in Miami, hosted by basketball star Shaquille O'Neal at his sprawling mansion, a hotspot for music industry mingling. Both Beyoncé and Marques were among the guests, though no photographs captured them side by side. That absence of visual proof was telling in itself, in an age before smartphones dominated every event. Deliberate separation at parties often signaled an effort to avoid fueling speculation. Still, word spread through industry circles, and tabloids pounced on a now-lost Q&A in Vibe magazine where Marques reflected on his influences. His comment about learning how to treat women by observing Beyoncé's poise and focus was meant as admiration, but headlines twisted it into evidence of romance. Marques has addressed the chatter directly in recent years, most notably during a 2023 podcast appearance where he described their dynamic with candor. They kicked it. He said, spent time together in casual, low-key settings amid the chaos of touring. But he emphasized her unwavering ambition, noting that any connection remained light and unstructured, far from the committed relationship gossip columns portrayed. From Beyoncé's side, silence has been the strategy, consistent with her approach to pre-fame personal details. Her team has long curated timelines that prioritize professional milestones, effectively minimizing traces of early entanglements. This scrubbing isn't unique to her. Many artists protect their narratives to shape public perception. Yet, it leaves gaps that fans and historians fill with their own interpretations. The persistence of this story owes much to its timing. It unfolded just as Beyoncé was outgrowing her girl group identity, a period of vulnerability where personal choices carried extra weight. For Marques, it added a layer of intrigue to his solo pivot. though he transitioned into acting and family life without leaning into the lore. Culturally, the rumor even spawned misconceptions, like the persistent myth that a verse in Say My Name referenced Marquez ignoring calls, a claim easily debunked since the song was written and recorded in 1999, well before their paths intensely crossed. It highlights how fans retroactively weave narratives, seeking clues in lyrics that predate the events. In hindsight, the Marcus Houston chapter illustrates the fleeting nature of tour-borne bonds in the music world. Proximity breeds familiarity, and familiarity invites assumption, especially when both parties are young, talented, and under the same watchful eye. Beyoncé emerged from this era more guarded, channeling experiences into her art without public confirmation or denial. Marquez, meanwhile, has built a career on his own terms, occasionally nodding to the past with a smile, but never inflating it. What lingers is a reminder of how quickly professional respect can be misread as romance in an environment where every interaction is scrutinized. This subtle studio-fueled speculation set the stage for even thinner evidence in the rumors to come. If shared rehearsals and a vague quote could sustain years of debate, a single misinterpreted photograph would prove just how fragile the line between fact and fiction could become. Top 5. Sean Paul. The rumor dating back to the Baby Boy era 2003. The fall of 2003 marked a turning point for Beyoncé Knowles, one that thrust her from the secure embrace of Destiny's Child into the unforgiving spotlight of solo stardom. At just 22, she released Dangerously in Love, an album that blended R&B vulnerability with pop dominance, and no track captured that shift quite like Baby Boy. Featuring Jamaican dancehall star Sean Paul, the song wasn't just a chart topper, it was a cultural phenomenon, blending seductive rhythms with lyrics that played on fantasy and desire. Filmed in a single sweltering day in Miami, the music video showcased Beyoncé and Sean Paul in near-constant physical sync. Their dance moves so fluid and intimate that MTV felt compelled to air a brief note clarifying it was all choreography. Yet, for millions of viewers glued to their screens, the line between performance and reality blurred almost immediately. Within days of the video's premiere, radio stations across the country were flooded with calls from listeners convinced they detected something more in the ad-libs and breathless exchanges. The track itself soared, holding the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 for 9 consecutive weeks, the longest reign of any single that year, and eventually earning Grammy nominations. It propelled Beyoncé's debut album to multi-platinum status, but the success came with an unintended shadow. Tabloids, always eager for a fresh angle on the industry's newest sensation, began circulating stories of an off-screen romance. One particularly persistent blind item in page 6 hinted that Jay-Z, who was already in a quiet, undeveloped relationship with Beyoncé at the time, had grown increasingly uncomfortable. Sources claimed he pushed for Sean Paul to be cut from a planned live medley at the MTV Video Music Awards that September, though Sean appeared regardless, delivering a high-energy performance that only amplified the chatter. The tension reached its peak on November 6th at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Edinburgh, Scotland. Beyoncé and Sean Paul took the stage together for an electrifying rendition of Baby Boy, complete with the same provocative choreography that had set tongues wagging. Backstage, however, the mood was far from celebratory. Grainy cell phone footage, which wouldn't surface publicly until years later, captured Beyoncé pulling Sean Paul into a dimly lit corner away from the crew. Her words, though inaudible in the clip, were later contextualized by Sean himself. In interviews, she expressed deep concern that the rumors were undermining her professional credibility and complicating her personal life. Sean Paul, then 30 and riding his own wave of international fame with hits like Get Busy, has consistently maintained his innocence in fueling the speculation. In a 2022 appearance on a popular music podcast, he reflected on the incident with a measured tone, saying he never contributed to the narrative but acknowledged how quickly the streets, and by extension, the media filled in the blanks. Looking back, the rumor's endurance speaks volumes about the era's celebrity ecosystem. Beyoncé was meticulously crafting an image of empowerment and independence, one that clashed intriguingly with dancehall's raw, unapologetic energy. Sean Paul embodied that freewheeling spirit, and their collaboration professional as it was provided just enough visual and auditory fuel to ignite imaginations. There were no leaked photos of late-night rendezvous, no incriminating text messages, no witnesses to anything beyond studio sessions and stage rehearsals. Jay-Z and Beyoncé, who wouldn't confirm their relationship publicly for years, kept their bond under wraps, which only left more room for projection, even today. Streaming milestones for Baby Boy trigger spikes in online searches pairing their names, a testament to how a single song can embed itself in collective memory. From Beyoncé's perspective, the episode highlighted the double-edged sword of breakout success. The same chemistry that sold records could erode the privacy she fiercely guarded. For Sean Paul, it was a brush with the intense scrutiny that comes with crossing paths with American pop royalty. And for Jay-Z, it may have been an early test of the discretion required to build what would become one of music's most enduring partnerships. The Baby Boy saga wasn't about betrayal, it was about perception, and how quickly a spark of artistic synergy can be mistaken for something deeper. This was merely the opening act in a series of whispers that would follow Beyoncé through the years. If a chart-dominating remix could generate such sustained intrigue, consider the fallout from far less substantial evidence in the chapters ahead.